Lethal Company is a content farm. For YouTubers and streamers, it's easy money. Because the game just generates clips and funny moments with its randomly generated chaos. And because of that, it's also great with friends. To bond and create memorable moments together. Like subscribing. And this one, where I was learning the game and I ran into these things while trying to hide from the blind dogs who attack you if they hear you.
Yeah, you might not be able to go past.
Fine, Jesus Christ.
Oh, sprint.
Oh.
Crouch. Bro, yell in game, yell in game, yell in game, yell in game.
Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck
Keep
off!
screaming, keep screaming.
Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off!
Oh my god.
In that clip, we were using Discord. We did that for a short time because this game has proximity chat. And no noise gate for the voice chat. And by default, the audio balancing is pretty bad. And you will get a lot of clipping, which basically means voice go loud and make ears hurt. And it probably doesn't help that I'm constantly shoveling popcorn into my mouth. And one of my friends has a thing where he has a very low tolerance for background noise. Like my mechanical keyboard. Sure, it's loud as shit, but it glows in the dark. Anyway, I think his thing is called autism, and a noise gate would help with that. But the proximity chat in the game is like the secret sauce that makes the game good. Going into it just on Discord makes the game much more boring. You need the tension and thrill that only the proximity chat can give you. The tension and creeping dread you feel when everything becomes quiet and you can't hear your friends anymore and the paranoia sets in. Are they dead? Am I gonna die? Was that thing I heard them, random background noise, or did my paranoia trigger a visit from a very malicious ghost girl? Fuck. All I know about the ghost girl is that I need to run and keep my back to a wall so she can't kill me. I can hear heavy breathing. Also, you shouldn't look at her. But I did. So I got the fuck out of there and ran to the ship. The ghost girl fucks with you mentally on a level no other video game has done. Because she also fucks with your proximity chat and ability to hear things. Jesus.
Hvað?
Ég heyri henni.
Já, ekki, þú verður að vera bara ekki að horfa alltaf fyrir aftæði, það gerir þig meira paranoid.
Ég ætla bara að vera hérna með baki í vegginn. Ok, hún hætti að anda. Það var large axle á núti, ég get náði það.
Ok, fara hann að því að...
Oh my
Þetta sé
god.
kannski giant.
Nei, farðu bara. Já, farðu bara. She only affects you. For everyone else, the game appears completely normal. And that's why I looked and sounded like a complete idiot from my girlfriend's perspective. She makes you crazy in real life. And I actually unironically had a nightmare the next time I slept after my run-in with her. The best horror games have really good audio. And Lethal Company has damn good horror audio. The spider running around. The thumper in the distance. The giant walking around. and the snarling or whatever of the dogs. Almost all enemies have these sounds and you need to hear them to keep yourself alive. But they also contribute to early onset heart disease. Great audio work here. Voice chat just needs a noise gate, even if it is just a shitty cut-all sound below a certain decibel one, but a Discord level noise gate would be perfect. Gameplay. The audio and being spooked is cool and all, but what is the actual gameplay loop like? Click play, you invite your friends, pick a planet that doesn't have a weather effect. I'll get into that in a bit. Also, they have a 3-tier difficulty system, and you have to pay for the tier 3 planets. Land on the planet, go outside, find the entrance to a facility, steal stuff there and take it back to the ship, while trying not to die from spooky things. Do this again and again until you run out of days, and then go sell at the company building. Hopefully you stole enough so that you met the quota. Otherwise you get to visit the Infinite Void. Describing it like this can make it sound boring, and the game would be boring if it wasn't for the spooky stuff and the RNG. Lethal Company is a cooperative horror roguelike. Every time you go to a planet, the shit that's on it is random, the enemies, building layout, the loot, and that's really what keeps the game fresh. Because if it was the exact same every time, the scares would get really boring. The RNG can fuck you hard, like when my friend went into the fire exit and immediately stepped on a landmine.
I'm gonna YOLO it with the fire exit.
I'm going in main.
Patrick is dead.
Ha!
Patrick is dead.
What?
I think he stepped on a landmine.
No! Oh my god! Are you kidding?
Or it could be generous and most of the loot will be close to the entrances. And yes, all the facilities in the game have at least 2 entrances. And looking for and memorizing where those entrances are is one more flavoring that keeps the game interesting. You can remember where all the fire exits are because the outside of a planet doesn't change, but the inside does. So fire exits will be in the same place outside every time, but for the inside you will just have to hope for the best. Let's circle back a bit. Where do we select the planet? The computer, man's greatest invention. You have to type commands to navigate it. I like that. That's cool. Remembering the commands will help you quite a bit, and it's not a lot to remember. It's just single words, and you see all the important ones right when you get on it. The first thing in the game you will need to do is get on the computer, type moons, and then type route planet name, and then confirm to go there. This is cool to me, and that means I'm a fucking nerd. Fuck. What's that weather all about? Flooded, foggy, eclipsed, stormy. The 4 elements. Flooded, it makes the sea level on the planet rise, and if your head gets below water, you will drown and die. But that probably won't happen. We went there once and it only rose to the hip level. Foggy, it means you can't see shit. Eclipsed, you are now in the fuck zone. When it's dark, the baddies come out. Mainly the blind dogs and the man-eating giants. Dogs hear extremely well and the giants see extremely well. This is an evil combo. This weather effect still kinda pisses me off. I had just bought a very expensive $400 sap gun that I was very excited for. But we land on an eclipsed 3-tier difficulty planet Titan. When we land, we are surrounded by enemies, specifically the giants and the dogs. This means we can't talk to each other, and going outside is pretty much a death sentence, because you will need to run from the giant who will see you easily, and that will trigger the dogs. So I chickened out and stayed on the ship, and I was stuck in a state of like a guy who's gonna make a big jump and is constantly trying to psych himself up for it.
Go, no.
During this, the drop pod with my expensive item landed, and it is loud as shit. So it got surrounded by dogs. And if the drop pod leaves, then you don't get your item, and you don't get a refund. That hurts. But when I finally psyched myself up to go and went a little bit
Go,
outside,
Go.
I stepped on a fucking whoopee cushion.
Þeir eru að fara í hina áttina. Go, go, no.
And a dog entered the ship and killed my girlfriend. And I froze. And then it killed me. Don't go to an eclipsed planet. Stormy. It's a thunderstorm, lightning everywhere. If it hits you, you die. If you have metal objects, you will definitely get hit by lightning. Otherwise, it's up to Thor or Zeus. The other thing you do on the computer is shopping. You mostly buy flashlights and walkie-talkies, and maybe a shovel if you feel like trying to kill enemies. I don't know how close I can get.
Doing good, doing good, doing very good. Yes, you're hitting it, hitting, keep going, keep going. Yeah! Awesome!
Fucking killed you!
Oh, I feel like a man!
No! The other stuff is less useful, like require too much work and time to use, or have a niche use, or are just too expensive. The signal translator is very good because it can send messages to everyone in the team. It's good if for whatever reason you can't communicate. Okay, last thing on the computer. Doors. There are big sealed doors inside the facilities that have letters written on them. If you type those letters into the computer, then the door will open or close. Opening it can get you to the loot, and you can use that to seal an enemy behind a door that has a dead end. The ship has a camera viewer, effectively a minimap over the player, and one person can stay on the ship with a walkie-talkie and guide the other players through the facility, and away from danger, and towards loot. I recommend installing the Helmet Cameras mod. It sucks and doesn't really do anything helpful, but it's cool. Being the camera guy is great if you feel like trying to herd cats. It's also good if you're a fan of the cock chair. It will probably end with you saying stuff like, okay, to the left, no, go back, okay, to the left, no, that is the right, go back, fucking retard, stand still. You're 26, you should know the difference between left and right. Yeah, I don't have the patience to be the ship guy. Two more equipment things, the teleporter and the flashbangs. Flashbangs can stun enemies and help you live, but it's much more fun to bang your friends.
Oh, I also have stuff to sell.
What'd you do that?
Funny. Teleporter can teleport you back to the ship, but you drop all your items, so it isn't that useful. And the inverse teleporter teleports you into the facility, and in all likelihood into incredible danger. Goodbye.
He is dead.
I've talked about or shown you most of the enemies, and I wanna leave a few surprises. So let's talk about the one that sucks. The Coilhead. While cool at first, he will just be annoying to deal with later. The way he works is that you have to look at him, otherwise he moves and kills you. Okay, easy. just keep him in your field of vision, which means navigating back outside backwards, which can make you back into another enemy or a wall or something. But when you see this guy, it's basically just, oh, okay, I'm the coil head watcher guy now. This is my life now. I'm trapped. After a few run-ins with this guy, you will know how to deal with him easily. Just exit the building while looking at him. The reaction to him goes from, oh no, oh shit, I'm panicking, to, ugh, this fucking guy. The counterplay to him is just not fun. Being the coil watch guy is boring. Oh, and actually most enemies are easy to deal with, because if you jump on a railing, most of them can't get you, and you can kill them with a shovel. That might actually be fixed in the new update. Also, you can jump on a bookshelf to be safe. This is the second hardest enemy, by the way, and he absolutely sucks as an enemy. There is no counterplay. Once you see him, you just have to leave, because he'll just kill you, get in your way, and there is nothing you can do. He also has a big radius around him that makes other enemies invulnerable to damage, and that has probably gotten me killed a lot without realizing it. He also has a tendency to camp entrances, so once you see him and you leave, you kinda also have to leave the planet, because you're not going to get any loot with him camping you. This enemy is the equivalent of that one kid when you were playing superheroes. I shoot you with lightning. Well, I have rubber powers. Okay, I punch you. I have the power to negate all damage and get fat stacks and mad bitches. It sucks. There's two other things mechanically about the game that annoyed me. One, you have very little stamina, and so you are only able to run short distances. Even less if you have too much heavy shit on you. It just feels too uncomfortable. So I installed the better stamina mod and the game feels much better. And the flashlight and walkie-talkie take up an inventory slot. A loot carrying slot. There were usually just 3 of us playing, and so we always had to do very frequent trips with loot, so we installed the reserved item slot to free up the space, and the game feels much better. Point I'm making here is mods can make the game much better, and by default some things feel shitty. Like every other game, the more you play it, the more it gets boring. For me, the limit is usually an hour, but I can feel it gets shorter and shorter, because at this point in early access, it is really repetitive. Go in the same place and get the same loot and avoid the same enemies in the same randomized layout. And the horror aspect gets weaker and weaker the more you play it. And really, the death of the game is when you start trying to go for higher and higher quotas, and operating with a strategy, and playing it smart. That's why you use alcohol, to make you dumber, so you can't do that. In Lethal Company, the fun is in you and your friends dying. That is why I'm slamming my dick on the table and declaring that it is only fun with friends. It gives you a fun story to tell. Like, hey Lois, remember the time when I got kidnapped by a shadow person in Lethal Company? Yeah, I can't do a good Peter. Æ.
Hvað? Ekki gera þetta?
Nei, það var...
Já, hvernig leit hann út?
Cthulhu.
Ég veit ekki hvað það er.
Það er bara það sem hún notar til að kveikja á vasslu. Æi! Hann er hérna.
Já.
Ja.
Ertu með vasaljósið?
Já, ég kann ekki...
Já, þú þarft að horfa á hann, horfðu frá honum. Oh my god. Are you kidding me?
It also tests your friend's ability to forgive you. Like the time me and my friend were in the depths of the facility, surrounded by enemies. And I got chased by a coilhead and abandoned my friend.
You need to guide me. You need to verbally guide me.
I don't know, I'm so fucked. I'll go back to the ship and guide you from... Oh, you don't have a walkie? Oh, the coilhead is on me.
You need to close the door, dude!
I made it out of that just to get killed by a fucking dog. To summarize this section, repetitive gameplay that is made fun by the RNG, the horror element, the computer, and the friends you play it with. Story. Yes, there is a story here. Kinda. It's more like lore. The difference between lore and story is that story usually changes things a bit. But with lore, the game stays the same and you just read text files, and it doesn't progress anything. Go on the computer and type Sigurd. Now you have entered the lore realm. This Sigurd guy was/is an employee of the company, and these texts are his journal. The computer has just one entry at first and the rest you have to find, on various places in the world. His journals tell his story of working at the company, which can be quickly summed up as, I took this job because my dad said don't be a pussy, get a job. And then wow, this job really sucks. And then a guy got murdered by a shadow person in front of me, boo-hoo. I think this company is actually a front. It isn't run by people, it's run by a giant space monster. As if the tentacles weren't a dead giveaway. And yeah, it would make sense for the company to be run by a big dumb monster, since regularly ejecting your employees and the expensive computer into space when they don't meet a quota seems stupid. It would be more profitable to keep them working. Anyway, Sigurd's notes imply that there is a conspiracy with this company going on, and hopefully when this game has gotten more updates we can actually uncover this conspiracy and experience a story. But Sigurd's notes are interesting enough, tells you a little about the world. Decent lore, no story really. Conclusion. Lethal Company is only good with friends. And I would say it's a must play with your friends, because it gives you so many fun moments with your friends, at least early on, because it does get old. But when I say that, I'm talking about like 8 to 10 hours into the game. That's when you start feeling the repetition. Until then, you and your friends are having a great time, dying together, laughing at that one friend that's alive, and tricking your smartwatch into thinking you exercised because your heart rate spiked. And you can always throw in a few mods to shake things up. The game itself, though, is clearly a work in progress, and I look forward to its future content. I recommend the game only if you have friends to play it with. I give the game guiding my friend into getting killed by a facehugger because it's funny. In that room, no, not there, if you look left now. Yeah, in that room there should be an enemy. Yeah, there you go. Out of the world's saddest horn.
Is this some kind of new fetish?
Here's my mod list, and by the way, Overwolf, no one wants your shitty overlay. Stop trying to push it. After this game, I now exclusively refer to my girlfriend as the Quicksand Queen.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
Because she died from quicksand like 3 or 4 times. Twice immediately after jumping off the ship.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, subscribe and have a great day.
That's
When you clown horn the darkness answers back.